Imagine this. You are standing in the cold streets of East Berlin on the night of November 9th, 1989. You are not watching history on a documentary. You are inside it. There are thousands of people around you, pushing toward a border checkpoint. Some are crying, some are laughing nervously, some are holding children by the hand. And right in front of you, there are armed guards who only a few hours earlier represented one of the most terrifying borders on Earth. Nobody knows if the gate is about to open or if this crowd is about to become a massacre. And the strangest part? The whole thing may have started because one government official read a paper badly on live television. I'm Thiago. And if you think the Berlin Wall fell because people suddenly grabbed hammers and decided to break concrete, stay with me. Because the real story is way more human, way more chaotic, and honestly, way more disturbing. Before I explain what really started the fall of the Berlin Wall, I want you to think about something and comment your honest answer. Do you believe empires fall because people become brave, or because the system becomes stupid? Don't overthink it. Brave people? Stupid system? Both? Drop it in the comments, because this question is basically the entire story hiding in plain sight. The Berlin Wall did not fall in one night. Physically, yes, the world saw people climbing it, dancing on it, hitting it with hammers, crying on top of it like the 20th century had just glitched. But psychologically, politically, emotionally, that wall had been cracking long before the first piece of concrete came loose. The wall was built on August 13, 1961, by East Germany, with Soviet support, to stop people from fleeing to the West. And let's be brutally honest, when a country has to build a giant wall to keep its own citizens inside, that is not exactly a 5-star review from the population. For 28 years, the Berlin Wall was not just concrete, it was a message. A brutal, gray, heavily guarded message that said, your life belongs here, your future belongs here, your dreams need permission, and your body is not free to cross this line. Imagine waking up every day knowing that a few streets away, there is another world with different shops, different music, different newspapers, different cars, different freedoms. But you can't go there. It's like seeing someone's Instagram story from the life you were forbidden to have. Except instead of feeling jealous on your couch, you're being watched by the secret police. And that brings us to the first crack in the wall. People stopped believing the lie. That's how control begins to die. Not when the police disappear, not when the guns vanish, not when the leaders admit defeat. Control begins to die when ordinary people start whispering to themselves, wait, why are we still obeying this? And if you have ever stayed in a situation too long just because everyone around you acted like it was normal, you understand this better than you think. Comment one word if you want, obedience or freedom. Which one do you think is more powerful in human history? By 1989, East Germany was already in deep trouble. Across Eastern Europe, communist governments were shaking. The Soviet Union, under Mikhail Gorbachev, was no longer behaving like the old iron fist ready to crush every rebellion with tanks. Hungary opened its border with Austria in the summer of 1989, and suddenly East Germans discovered a side door out of the cage. Thousands fled through Hungary. Others crowded into West German embassies in Prague and Warsaw, desperate for a way out. The system was still standing, but people were leaking out of it like water through a cracked dam. And then came Leipzig. Starting in September 1989, the Monday demonstrations grew bigger and bigger. People marched, prayed, shouted, demanded travel rights, demanded reform, demanded dignity. The slogan was simple, Wir sind das Volk, we are the people. That sentence is small, but don't underestimate it. In a dictatorship, saying, we are the people is not a motivational quote. It is a threat. It means, you no longer get to pretend you speak for us. Now here is where the story gets almost absurd. The East German government knew it had a problem. Too many people wanted to leave. Too many people were protesting. Too many people were watching. So instead of solving the deeper crisis, the lack of freedom, the broken economy, the loss of trust, they tried to manage the paperwork. Classic bureaucracy. The house is on fire, and someone is trying to redesign the evacuation form. Honestly, respect. Terrible idea, but very on brand for collapsing regimes. On November 9, 1989, a senior East German official named Günter Schabowski held a press conference. It was supposed to be routine, boring even, the kind of event where journalists drink bad coffee. Officials use dead language, and history usually stays asleep. But Schabowski had been given information about new travel regulations. Citizens of East Germany would be allowed to apply for private travel abroad. The problem was that the announcement was not supposed to cause an immediate stampede. There were details, procedures, timing, bureaucratic cushions. But Schabowski did not seem fully briefed. Then a journalist asked the question that changed the world. When does this take effect? And Schabowski, looking through his notes, said something like, as far as I know, immediately, without delay, immediately, without delay. 6 words, and one of the most fortified borders in modern history suddenly turned into a customer service misunderstanding with machine guns. If that sounds insane, it's because it is. History sometimes doesn't arrive with orchestras. Sometimes it arrives like a man reading the wrong part of the email in front of cameras. And now I want you to pause with me, because this is the part that makes the story so powerful. If one random person had said, "The border is open," nobody would care. But when a representative of the regime says it on television, the sentence becomes radioactive. People watching at home heard immediately, and they did what humans do when a locked door suddenly might be open. They tested it. They got their coats. They called relatives. They walked toward the checkpoints. Some probably thought, this cannot be real. But they went anyway. Imagine being one of them. You are walking toward the border with your family. Your heart is pounding. You don't know if this is freedom or a trap. There is no push notification from history saying, congratulations, the Cold War is ending. There is just cold air, nervous footsteps, and the insane possibility that the world you knew 5 minutes ago may no longer exist. Comment this honestly. Would you have gone to the border that night, or would you have waited at home to see what happened to other people first? No judgment. Actually, a little judgment. But human judgment at Bornholmer Strasse, one of the main crossing points, the crowd grew. The guards were confused. They had not received clear instructions. The people demanded to pass. The pressure increased. Think about the guards for a second, not as villains in a movie, but as human beings trapped inside a machine. They had guns, they had uniforms, they had procedures, but they did not have clarity. And in moments like that, power becomes strangely fragile. Because power is not just weapons. Power is coordination. Power is certainty. Power is everyone knowing what role they are supposed to play. The crowd knew what it wanted. The guards did not know what the state wanted. That imbalance matters. Around 11:30 p.m., the checkpoint at Bornholmer Strasse opened and people began crossing into West Berlin. No dramatic vote, no perfectly planned transition, no heroic single command from the top. Just pressure, confusion, fear, and finally, release. The gate opened because the system hesitated, and when a system built on fear hesitates in front of thousands of people who are no longer willing to go home, the fear changes sides. That is the real turning point. The Berlin Wall fell when fear changed sides. For decades, the people were afraid of the state. On that night, the state became afraid of the people. Not because the people had tanks. They didn't. Not because the people had a perfect plan. They didn't. Not because every person in the crowd was fearless. They weren't. They were probably terrified. But there is a kind of courage that does not feel like courage while you are living it. It feels like your knees shaking while you take one more step. And this is why the story still matters. Because the Berlin Wall was not only a wall between East and West, it was a wall between reality and propaganda. The government said one thing, but people could see another. The government said life was good, but people were leaving. The government said the system was strong, but it could not survive one badly explained press conference. And that is embarrassing. Like, historically embarrassing. Imagine building an entire surveillance state and then losing control because one official basically said the quiet part too early, but we should be careful not to turn this into a cute story about a mistake. The fall of the wall was not just a blooper. It was the result of years of pressure, suffering, surveillance, escapes, protests, negotiations, and ordinary people deciding that the price of silence had become too high. The mistake mattered because the ground beneath it was already unstable. A match only creates an explosion when the room is full of gas. And maybe that is the lesson. Most walls do not fall when they look weakest. They fall when they still look impossible. From the outside, the Berlin Wall looked permanent. It had concrete slabs, watchtowers, barbed wire, guards, dogs, floodlights, ideology, paperwork, fear. It had everything a wall needs, except belief. And once enough people stop believing that a wall is eternal, the concrete becomes decoration. If this kind of story makes you see history differently, follow the channel because that is exactly what I want to do here. Not just tell you what happened, but show you the human glitch inside the event. And if you want to support deeper videos like this, become a member of the channel. It helps me keep making stories that don't treat history like a boring list of dates, but like what it really is. Human beings under pressure, making choices without knowing they are inside a chapter of the future. Now here is the uncomfortable part. We love looking at the Berlin Wall as if it belongs to the past. as if we, modern people with smartphones and food delivery apps and 12 forgotten passwords, are obviously too advanced for walls. But are we? Maybe our walls just got more elegant. Less concrete, more psychological. Less barbed wire, more algorithm. Less checkpoint, more fear of what people will think. Less you cannot cross. More people like you don't do that. So let me ask you one last question, and I really want to see the comments on this. What is the biggest invisible wall today? Fear, money, propaganda, algorithms, loneliness, comfort? Because the most dangerous walls are not always the ones guarded by soldiers. Sometimes they are guarded by habits, by shame, by a story someone told us so many times that we forgot it was a story. On November 9th, 1989, people walked toward a border not knowing if they would be stopped, arrested, or shot. And because they walked, the world changed. But the wall did not begin falling when the first hammer hit the concrete. It began falling when people looked at something that had ruled their lives for 28 years and quietly decided, this is not stronger than us. Every wall begins as concrete, but it only stays standing while it lives inside the mind.